So we're going to be doing resin today. I'm on a little early. I've got my part A and B poured already, so that's good. I'm not sure you can see what I'm doing. I hope you can. Welcome, Randall. Are you working or painting? So I just welcome everybody in. I will be doing resin and I will be walking everyone through it. Aw, thank you. I wouldn't know what to do without the headband of flowers. Thank you so much, Randall. Appreciate you. So pretty. Okay, so I thought I'd get as much ready as possible before going live, but there's so much to do all at the same time with resin. Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you so much. And so I thought, well, I might as well just do the whole process as if you've never done resin before. And that way, if you want to try it, but you've been hesitant because of all the horror stories you hear or see, maybe this will help just kind of give you that little incentive that you need. Siri, however, my sis, will probably come in when she can, and she does resin. She does fabulous resin, no bubbles. So if you have questions and I don't address them, DM me or just see if Sherry's in there, because she will probably answer you and she knows what she's talking about, just so you know. Okay? Well, it's 11:44. It's still 1 minute. Welcome, everyone. Let's just get started. I'll start always with gloves when you're working with resin, epoxy resin. And we're doing a few different things today with our resin. Usually I make up a bunch and then end up with leftover resin, so I put them in these ring holder molds. There's lots of different shapes and styles of these. You get them off of Amazon, but they're very pretty. They're fun. You could just throw anything you want in there. And so I usually do that. I'm not certain I've made up enough to do that, but if I do, we will be making one of the small ones to go with this little geode box that we're going to resin the top of today. So if not, I'll just do this at another time. I'll probably just, time lapse it so anyone that's interested in making them can learn if they don't already know. Hey, this and that, welcome. Hi. 1 minute early, I know, Randall. What am I thinking? So my epoxy resin, my favorite resin to use, doesn't matter whether I'm coating a painting or a treasure box or pouring something thick like a ring mold. I always use Pro Marine resin. Not the Pro Art Marine, but the Pro Marine, just the regular tabletop epoxy. Let me show you what it looks like. It comes in 2 parts. There's one, and the other one's blue. And they're very heavy. I just got grossness on this one already. So anyway, that's the resin I use. I've tried a gazillion other resins, and for what I do, I don't want to have to own a million different resin brands. I want something that I can use straight across the board, and that's what I've found. It has the UV resistant in it. It's not, the fumes and like that, so it's very good resin. So what I've got is, there's 2 parts. There's the thick part and the thin part, part A and part B. And you have equal parts of each. And while it's mixing up, we're going to go ahead and just mask off this. And I don't care that it's going to still be wet. It actually turned out really good for this last box I worked on. So we'll do the same thing again. So you have a thick one, that's your A. It's very thick, see it's not moving? And this one does move, that's your B. So you want to pour your B into your big cup first, and I've got lots of different size stir sticks here. I do like to use the silicone stir sticks. I just think they have to just add less bubble, because this wood is, raw. So but I don't have any right now. So something's happening up there, but I don't see what it is. Okay. So just get as much as you can in there. I know, you know, I don't weigh it, I just measure it out. Don't really even measure it out, I just kind of mark it. And I have never had a problem. All right, so your thin went in first, and now you're thick. You'll see the difference, it just does not want to pour. Look at that. Isn't that fun? I like to just drizzle it in there. And I'm a messy painter and a messy artist, so I always put wax paper down in layers that when I need to refresh what everything is sitting on, I just peel up that top layer and there's another layer underneath. It just kind of helps. I also want to put a thin layer of clear resin on the previous box that we've been working with, the one under the sea. I've sprayed the inside lid, but it does need some resin over all of that, not spackling, but the gel and texture that I put there. I just want a little bit more security over those parts. So I figured the resin would be a nice touch. It will look watery. Okay, so there's that. And then you stir for 3 minutes. And we talk. How is everybody? Oh, beautiful. Hey, you do this art too. Oh, that's fabulous. Welcome, Val. Thanks, this and that. I appreciate you welcoming people in, people. I appreciate that so much. Randall does that for me all the time. And everybody is so good with our art tribe here. Look how cloudy it is in the beginning. That's all of the chemicals reacting with each other. It's all bubbly. You just continue to stir it. Now I'm going to be masking around the side of my box with a frog tape. I tried the blue, it didn't hold good enough. So frog tape is my answer, my go-to. The last treasure box I did, I made very thick on the top. This one, however, I don't believe I'm going to. We'll see how it goes. It's always room for change. Okay, look, it's getting clearer already. You can see all the bubbles though. So we keep stirring. I like to have all of my supplies set up in the very beginning before you even get started, because sure enough, you're gonna need something in the middle for some reason. So like I have all of my stir sticks in different sizes and toothpicks. I've got gloves and cleanup supplies because I am messy, and it's just good to have those things around. Clear off everything you don't need or you don't want resin on. And if you love to come back into your studio later, make sure that you have a level place that you can put the things you just resined and clear off your work area so you're not locked out of your studio for a while. I've done that before. Okay, this looks pretty clear. When you look in the natural light, it doesn't work for a light bulb for some reason, but if you can turn and look in the natural light and stir it, there will be little cords or strings. It looks like thread if it's not mixed up all the way. So then you just keep stirring it. Mine look pretty good. You do scrape the sides and the bottom periodically, making sure that everything you put in there is all mixed together. And then I like to take my stir stick out and just pitch it. Don't let it sit there creating little bubbles from wood. Alright, and now we're just going to let this sit for a while off to the side while we address this. And so the first thing, welcome. I find my resin, this and that, on Amazon. And then also my husband orders it straight from Pro Marine. And they give discounts and stuff. So it's a good deal. I gotta take this off. And I buy them in, 2 gallons, 1 gallon of each. But they have them in much smaller amounts as well. But when you finally find something that works, it's just so exciting, you know? So, okay, so what I do is I line the edge, the bottom edge, up with my treasure box lid. Because I want that to be able to sit flat on the table. So I don't want any tape below that edge. This is just how I do it. Y'all, you do it. Finish this. And I've got a little tiny cave where my geode's sitting down in, and I don't want to put a ton of resin on this one. I just don't. So before I pour my resin, I'm going to take this liquid frisket that you can buy on Amazon. It's just a liquid mask, and it stinks, so don't smell it. Stir it up, and then just put it right on the edges of your little treasure box. Just run a bead down it. And I used to put it on and let it like perfectly dry, but I realized when I did my last one, I just put it on and then I stuck it down onto some wax paper, and it was perfect. So that's what I'm going to be doing this time too. It just kind of helped it stick to the wax paper where nothing got underneath. No resin. Because cleaning resin up off of these little wood boxes is quite annoying. So anything you can do to prevent something bad from happening is always good. It's not 100% foolproof, but it's the best I've found so far. A lot of people don't realize there's so much to art, so much work that has nothing really to do with creating the art itself, painting or whatever. It's all of the preparing and the after and the cleaning up and the finishing. There's just so much that goes on, especially with the treasure boxes. They just continue to go and go and go. If you haven't noticed, that's what happens here. So, okay, so our liquid mask is on. Let me show you that one more time in case you didn't get it. You can get a screenshot even if it's backwards and flip it on your photo app. Okay, so that really helps. I love this liquid mask. So I want to get some gloves back on and stir my resin one more time, and we'll separate it, put a little bit of different colors in, and start pouring our resin. It'll be fun or something. So in the little bottom of this box, this treasure box that matches this, I figured we might as well go ahead and pour something in there as well. I do have unicorn spit white all inside, and it's not sealed. So most generally, it will come off the side or whatever. So we'll see what happens, because I'm putting colored resin in, and I think it's gonna work anyway, so we'll see. If it doesn't, then we'll know. I'm gonna hit this with a heat gun, just a little bit. And that's our liquid mask. And it's still damp, and that's okay. I'm just gonna stick it right there. stir this up. Nice and easy. I'm so glad I started working with resin, because every time I saw something that was finished with resin, a piece of art that was finished with resin, it just like stopped my heart. I love that see-through glass look, just always have. Doesn't matter whether it's marbles or whatever, I just love it. So when I saw that people were doing this with resin, I was like, oh, I have to learn. So all of my fear I just put aside and just went for it, because it was worth it. And I'm so glad I did. So I hope you guys, if there's anyone out there that's hesitant, just please know that you will not be sorry. It will be fun and worth it. All right, so now I want to break it down into a few different cups. I'm sorry I don't have the clear so you guys could see, but anyway, I always leave some clear resin left over just in case, because sometimes you just need clear. I don't know why. It's just true. So, okay, so there's one color of resin that's going to be either white or beige, something. And here's another. This is also a really good time to add gold flakes or any of your crystals that you wanted to add more of, but you didn't. Now's a good time to do that. That's a little short, but that's all right. A lot of the question, I think, of the concern comes from how much pigment do you put in? And it really depends on what type of pigment you're using. If you're using the powdered pigment, what's really cool about that is a lot of the times it'll be pearlescence and very pretty. And you can make them very thin where they're translucent. Or you can add more and it becomes more opaque where you can't see through it. So it really depends on you as how much you want to put in. So I've just got a little tiny bit, and I'm going to put it on the smallest amount of resin. And what I like to do is stir it up. Take a little stir stick, stir it up, and see if you like it. If it's too thin, add more. If you want it thinner, then add more resin, clear resin, and thin it down. When you add the liquid pigments, just remember no more than 10% is generally a good rule for your pigment to resin ratio. It depends really on what you're using and how you're using it. So, but that's just generally a rule that I follow. Okay, so this is the pearlescent white, and it's pretty thin. It's not a lot of color to it, which for this purpose, it might be rather nice. That was very and rather together. Rather nice. What is she doing? Marvelous. I am stirring up resin, and we are coloring a geode box. My other geode box is downstairs. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take, this was the painting from this box, remember? Okay, so what I need to do is add some resin right down here on this ocean that I did. So I found one of these and I bent it out because I wanted to be able to prop it up a little bit. And just paint the edge. So I'm going to do that right fast, and y'all just visit among yourselves. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a paintbrush that I don't care to throw away, and I'm going to dip it just in some clear resin, and then I'm just dabbing it right on those places where I want my water. I'm going to use not that brush. I think I've got a, here it is. This is a silicone brush-ish thing. So you can wash that off. Just don't get it up into the metal part. I think that's gonna work better. And I'm just running it along wherever I put that water and that foam. I just want it protected a little bit more. This resin does seem to set pretty fast. It says 24 hours, but you know, if you're eager, you can come in here a little early and take it out of the ring molds and it's just fine. But I would go ahead and wait the recommended amount for sure. And it's funny because the thicker your resin mold, the faster it seems to cure. You would think it's the opposite, but it's not. Oh, that was a bunch of water. That's okay. You know, if I get a bunch too much in here, it'll just look more like water. Can't lose on that, right? Y'all, thank you for coming in. I'm sorry you see the top of my head and I'm not reading your comments, but I will eventually. Y'all help each other out if you have questions. I love that. Okay, so I've covered, at least with one touch, all of my white. So I'm gonna leave that right like this. Spread this out a little bit. And I already spray sealed the inside of this once. So I won't be doing that again. I just wanted to add that extra, okay, so that extra wet right down at the bottom is what I wanted. All right, so now I'll put this away. Finally, that one's gonna be done. I'm so excited. So yeah, these treasure boxes take a very long time because it's not so much the painting, it's the finishing. All right, so I want to just drizzle some of this. I keep trying to pick it up, but I've glued it down with that mask. Just some of this Frosty right over some areas of this treasure box. It doesn't really matter to me where it goes right now. I just want a little bit more frost on it. And then I'm just gonna pour straight onto it. Just a regular coat of resin, plain resin. There's a hair, that's not good. And then just take my little pokey silicone tool. These are fabulous, just get some of these if you're gonna work with resin, seriously. Okay, so it's thicker than I said it was gonna be. No shock, no surprise. I'm gonna hit it with a little torch. This is just a kitchen torch for a creme brulee or something like that. It's very easy. You put the little propane thing, you like that upside down. I've never used one of these before. I got one for resin, so I was intimidated to use it, but it's not scary at all once you get the gist of it. So you push that in, and open the gas up here, push that in, and then hit it. And then you can lower the flame however low you want and take your thumb off the little thing. And then just up and down real fast is all you will need. And I do up and down because I've got tape, you know, I don't want to smoke it. Though I have smoked it and it was okay at the end, so whatever. I'm going to add a few more little gold because it's fun. Nothing wrong with a little bit more gold. Just with little tweezers, dropping them in here and there and pushing it down into the resin. So pretty. I wish I could show you. You'll have to wait. Sorry. I do like that little pearlescent I put in, though you can't hardly see it. So there's that. I'm just gonna let this sit for a second and we'll go ahead and do this one. But I definitely want a deeper white. Let's see. So I'm gonna use my fabulous paste pigment. I can't even tell you what brand, Armor Art. And I'm just gonna add it straight to that one that's already got the frost in it. Or maybe I shouldn't. I think I won't. I think I'll just put one over here. Just about like that. Just mix it up. And with the paste, you really do want to make sure you're mixing it well. That was a lot of paste. It's awful creamy. I'm going to add just a little bit more resin. I don't want any mishaps that maybe I put too much pigment in, so I will err on the safe side. All right, that's cool. And I actually think a little white on top of this box would be pretty, so let me just see if I can drizzle some white in here. And then just take a toothpick. I'm making a little white path around my geode section. And if you don't like the way it turned out, then either add more or move it around with a toothpick, something. It's so cool because you're actually like creating a rock, you know? It's so fun. Y'all, you have to try this, seriously. A few more here and there. Okay, so that geode part is done. So moving over here, I'm just gonna pour all of my white in first, just for fun. Now, I should have liquid masked the top of this edge because it's so hard for me not to drip on the edge for some reason, but I did not. So I have to be very careful. And I do want some brown in here as well, and gold, some kind of cream, so maybe some unicorn spit, because that's the brown that I was using. So let me drop a little bit of unicorn spit into some resin, just a couple drops. Just do it. I just want a hint of brown. And yeah, you can use unicorn spit in resin, so that's cool. Ooh, I like the mottled brown without it being all stirred up, but that might be a problem, so I'll keep stirring, just in case. I also have a powder pigment. The resin is starting to get warm, and when you feel that, you know your working time is coming to an end, so move along. Let me see, I want to add a little powder to that. This is a very frosty mahogany, so that would be pretty. You can also use, for your resin, if you don't know, you can use little soap dyes as well. To me, it seems like they're maybe not as pigmented as the ones made for resin, but it's not going to hurt it. So, and you can get a whole bunch of little tiny colors, like almost like sample, for not very much at all in these little tiny bags, and they last forever. So if you are thinking of doing resin, that might be a good thing. That's a pretty color. It's very coppery, but it is still translucent. So I'm gonna pour some directly in the middle. So far so good. A little bit of my pearl. There's no rhyme or reason. I'm just doing whatever I think I can do to make it look cool. I'm just going back and forth with different colors. A little bit more brown. And then I'll take my toothpick go through it. Maybe a little bit more solid white. Okay, it's about time to hit this with the torch again. So let me get this glove off for a second. Again, you open it up, squeeze the button, and then twist it down, let the button go, and just a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and do the other one too. The main part of doing the tape, your bubbles will be around the edge of that tape. So make sure that when you're doing that, you check, your final check. You can take a toothpick and kind of pop them or whatever. The nice thing is, most of the time, the edges will have a little buildup that comes up the tape because the resin dries, cures, and there's kind of a shrink. So when you take the tape off, you'll have a little lip of little bubbles if you haven't got them. And that's okay, because you just take your little razor knife and scratch it down. Most of the time, just the back of your razor knife will take them off. Or a little bit of a sandpaper, nail file, anything just right on the edge should do it. You won't have a lot to deal with. So, okay, so now I have circles of brown and white, and I want to make it look more like a rock. And so far, so good. It's turning out very cool. Just swirling different colors around. I'm gonna add a little gold flake because it matches the top. It's supposed to, anyway. Get a little carried away. I don't know, can you get carried away? I want it to be special when they open it up, that they get happy when they look at it. That's all. These are these long skewers used for barbecuing. I get them at the Dollar Tree. They're great for the ring holders, testing at the bottom, and also just for poking down stuff. I sunk some of my foil, gold leaf, and then some of it may stay towards the top. But I do want at least a thin layer of clear over that foil as well. I don't want someone having to feel it with their fingers. And I want some of this brown that's the same color brown inside the box as on the lid. So I'm going to just draw one more little line of brown in there and just design it any which way you want. So fun. And the transparent colors really look so pretty on these Geode Treasure Boxes. It's just a hint of color. It's really nice. What I'm trying to do is make sure I have enough in this box that it's heavy enough that this treasure box lid, when it opens up, is not going to flip the box. And this has resin on it, and it's got spackling and all that. So this has to be pretty full. I just got resin on the side of that. I hope not. Well, I'll spray it. All right, so I'll put this away. I'm gonna add a little bit more clear, and then I've got to do something with the rest of this resin because it's gonna start setting up. So I'm just gonna pour in a little clear right by my gold and white. Right on top of some of them golds. Oh, it pushed my white all the way to the bottom, which actually looks very cool. However, I feel the need to add crystals. So we're gonna go with that. And what I like to add is, especially in these, is the diamond dust. It's just crystal glass chips. And I need something for my hands. I got stuff on them. Oh, I do too. I love gold flakes. Hey, Jamie. Welcome. Sorry, I have not even been seeing everybody. Yes, they're just so beautiful. So beautiful. All right, so let's add a little bit of the sheen, these crystals, just right into that hole where it pushed that white down, I think. Yes, ma'am. And then just go ahead and tap it down. You don't want anyone getting cut on glass. Not real hard, just it'll sink in a little. I'm thinking about putting a few more in here. That's as long as it took for me to figure that one out. Yeah, this one's already starting to set. Ooh, I love that. See, it's so neat because you look at something, you think maybe I should do such and such. And then the question is, oh, but will it ruin it or will it add to it, right? And then you just go for it and it's like, yay, it added to it. The little victories, such a celebration around here. Alandras, hey, welcome you guys. Aw. Okay, a little bit more clear. Just right over the crystals, because I'm still trying to weight this bottom of the box down heavier than the top. That should do it. You would think, ooh, crap, I just put, uh-oh. Uh-oh. I've got some resin on my Pandora box. Somebody named that the other day. I was thrilled with the name. But yeah, this was Epoxy Sculpt. That's what this is. It's this hideous black. It's got a couple crystals in it. And then it's got that on the bottom, but nothing on the top yet. So that's getting there. Anyway, boxes everywhere. Okay, so this feels like it might be heavy enough right now. So we'll go ahead and make a ring holder. Let me pour a little bit more. It sure turned out a little bit more pink in here. I don't know, maybe I'll add some more white. Just keep going back and forth. There won't be a box left. It'll just be solid. Whatever. Yep, see? That's what I needed to do. Except now it looks like I have a mustache. Hold on. Oh, I don't have a mustache. The Geode Box does. Oh, it's so pretty. Okay, seriously, I gotta stop working on this so I can get to my ring holder. Pushing it gold flake down. It almost looks like caramel. Okay. So that's done. It doesn't appear to have any bubbles too much. All right, so now we need the gold flake and we need a ring holder mold so we can make a ring holder to go with this treasure box. So the first color I think I want to put down, maybe I'll just make a mix of things. Let me add gold flake. Wowza, that's a lot of gold flakes. Okay, gloves. But I think the gold flake at the top of the ring holder would be awful pretty. We'll see. It depends on how dark those other colors get. I do kind of want to make it match. That's the point. It's supposed to be the point. Oh, I know. I know. Jamie, you're right. I do need another camera setup. Okay, so got some chunks. I mean chunks. But I don't care. And I'm just going to pour it into the ring holder mold first. Just that clear with the gold flakes. Just a little bit. Don't get carried away. Then take one of my long skewers, and I don't know if you can see, but I can see air bubbles. So hold it up to the light and take your skewer and poke it down until you see those air bubbles release. That is usually the only issue I've ever had with these ring molds, is an air bubble at the very tip. And that is because I failed to check right as I put the first little bits in. But a little rhinestone glued on or resined on right at the top works for that. So if that happens to you after you get these ring molders, just rhinestones, that's your answer. Okay, so let me just mix in to this clear, just for fun, a little brown, and some frost. Do I have white left? Yes. And a little white. The white is heaviest, so it's gonna sink. Just so you know. If that happens, you'll know why. Oh man, it looks like a latte with gold. I don't want to really stir it up much. I just want to pour it like that. The beautiful thing about the ring holders is you never know how they're going to come out till you peel them out of their mold. It's kind of like a pour. Fun. Okay, so there's our ring holder. It's got gold flake in it and all the colors that the treasure box has. So I'm just going to set this over here, because I know me. So there's that. Okay, I got to hit this one more time with the torch. This one doesn't look like it too much, but I will just in case. It's always better. Let's see, I thought I do. I think I have enough to make one more. So I don't know why I took my gloves off, but I did. Let me do this first. I think these were like $12 or $19, these little creme brulee torches, and I have a backup. Because they were that inexpensive, I thought definitely get a backup. Now, you see I just did that to the top of the molds. They don't recommend you torch a mold. However, if you're high enough and just fast enough, you can just singe those little bubbles without killing your mold. So, domino molds, no, because those domino molds are all through every domino, and I ruined a domino mold like that once, so I don't do that anymore. Thank you. Sherry, welcome. You've probably been here forever. Oh, Eliandris, congratulations. That's going to be a blast. Oh, you guys have so much going on, everybody. Very cool. Okay, one more ring holder. I could do black in it and do it for the weird ugly box, but let's just do another one with these colors. Maybe a little more. Let's put brown in the, I don't know. Let's put some gold flakes into the brown. I don't know if it's going to show up, but the brown isn't really opaque. It's pretty transparent, so it might. We'll see. It may just look like chunks of something. It's nice to have a darker color for the first bit that you put in, because you can see the bubbles. You can see if it went all the way down to the bottom. A lot of times you think it has, but if you push your stick down, then you can see, okay, now it is. So that's cool. Okay, and since we know the white is gonna force its way through everything, I'm just gonna go ahead and put a frost in first in a layer. Maybe a little bit more of the gold. Who knows? That's nice. Some solid white. Yeah, it's definitely getting thick now. And some more gold and brown. Be nice to see gold flakes at the bottom, I think. Don't worry if it gets over full. It will shrink down some. But just run a stick or something across the top, and it's okay if the resin runs over the side. It'll just peel right off of these silicone molds. It'll be fine. So, all right. Wow, I have made a mess of things, but yay. Let me torch this right fast. A lot of times when you're doing the resin, if you haven't done resin before, pour your thing, let it sit for about 5 minutes, and then do a little bit of the torch, and then wait another 5 or 10 minutes and do it again, and generally that's it. But because I kept messing with these things and stirring up bubbles, I went ahead and hit them one more time with the torch, but it looks like it's going to be fine. So, you see how this one's doing? This one has some bubbles. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but I need to torch it. I don't want to hold on to it and torch it. Not the best practices. And that's all it takes. And you're done. And then you gotta wait 24 hours, and then we get to reveal it. That's gonna be fun. All right, so we've got this setting up. Let's check on it. Okay, it has poured itself all the way back and made a little small ridge back there. I'm not sure I'm disappointed with that, or if I should add a little bit of white. But I like the idea of adding a little bit of white. I know, y'all, it's scary. Where's my white? But since there's a bunch of water and resin back there, I might as well just go with it, right? Just a little here and there. I'll leave it alone, lest I end up with another eyeball in the sky because I didn't stop soon enough. All right, well, I guess that's it. I gotta get cleaned up and all this stuff put away. You guys, thank you so much for hanging out. All of you artists, I love you so much. You're just the best art tribe ever. Thank you for all the gifts and the hearts and attendance and especially the conversation.